ago, and it had to do with a box. It was about a box factory. So we don't see that very often. That little line I just said, where the water hits the wheel. Thank you for being here, because this is a dimension of your working with the boys and girls that you may not have enough rehearsal time to do a lot with. And I've heard the word music camp mentioned many times today, and I'm thrilled with that, because some states still have camps for 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, music camps, and they always do theory. And some churches in their summer music camps do theory, and there are other kind of things. Some of the children are taking piano and they're doing theory. Okay. I'm gonna bring us back to this. Read it with me.
Hear, feel, do, see.
I hope that we've done a halfway good job at least following this sequence today. At times it was one came before the other, whatever. We're down to this. Somebody described music reading. Listen to this. In music reading, you see with your eyes and hear. I'm sorry. You see with your ears and hear with your eyes. You may need to write it down, think about it. In music reading, you see with your ears. You think what that means when you pick up a piece of music like this. Maybe some of you have opened it up and you're already, your ears, your listening ability for music, if you read music, are in there and you're going, you see, you may have noticed this 3 or 4 times. I hope you'll just start being so much more aware of time signature and key signatures. And one of the reasons I've chosen this anthem is, especially for us to start this session with, it is a challenge. And when you go to the website, the Carl Fisher website, to learn more about it, and you can, I think if you listen, I'm almost positive you listen to a little part of it, you'll see it coming up. And I do need these copies back, please, because our church made an investment in those, and I need to take those back. But you're going to get to take home a student score. So at least one for church. I think we'll have. I'm going to give those up to you. It's a challenge for your group, and it's a long anthem. When children see, when they open up an anthem like this, I think it's 11 pages, 9 pages or something. They've got to be mostly thinking, we'll never learn this. I don't know where you are in music reading. You may not read music at all. You may have had enough experience in the hear, feel, and do parts of this that you are recognizing the ways that melody moves. Stepping up, stepping down, skipping up, skipping down. Staying the same. Basically 5 ways. Where it really gets us is what? Which one of those is the hardest for us and brings in the most stuff to learn? Which one of those? Stepping, skipping, or staying the same? Skipping. Because, you know, if you don't read music, if you don't know that I'm going to start on E and go to F, and then next I'm going to sing G, if you don't know that, you're stepping. You see that, da-da-da, all right, up, and then you get to the place where you got this big skip. And you sing by intervals. You sing by how small or how large that skip gets. Now, this is just in its the simplest form that I can think. But that's how people who don't play an instrument or have not had a reason to learn lines and spaces and sing by being so aware, especially if you put it in your body, being aware of that, then you're looking at it. And you'd be amazed how your ear is helping you. I mean, when you think stay the same, hot cross buns, 1 a penny, 1 a penny, 2 a penny, 1 a penny. You see that, da-da-da, da-da-da. You're thinking, na-na, aren't you? Staying the same. Okay. All right. This is but here's, when you leave this class, here's the sentence I want you to go out with. Making sense of the vocal score. I wish I had coined that phrase. One of my mentors named Mabel Sample coined that phrase, and she helped write some of our earliest Methodist books at the Baptist Potion House, and that's good then. say it with me. Making sense of a vocal score. It's on your very last line on your outline page. Oh, good. What a nice friend. Can you put this table back out where we could find something pretty well? Let's see what. Okay, maybe. All right, we've got to sing, and we've got Rebecca, who's come with all kinds of recommendations. Are you still a Baylor student?
I sure am, yes.
You're a Baylor student. Okay, we're so thankful that you came. And she's not played this before. She's sight reading. And we've not worked together before, but we may like it so much we may go on the road. You take notice. So I am there. Sometimes I've not reminded you about this, but I am now. And that is I want you to look like a singer. Thank you very much. Get your legs and claws, go through the floor. Filling up your belt with air. Shrug your shoulders. Keep them very, very relaxed. Your chest is high. And you know, I think it'd be really fine. Maybe I'll just use this. I mean, this up because I don't have your copy. Is everybody where you can look on a copy? I don't know if we had any left. Did we have any left? Okay, so since I don't have it, here's my intro. Rebecca's going to be like, 1, 2, 3, go. Music moves in twos and music moves in threes. And move with me. All right, here we go. Breathe. While His grace we ponder. How long has it been since you sang that? While His grace we ponder. We don't do much pondering in our culture. Let's get with it and ponder some, okay? While His grace, and watch our transition. Here we go. While His grace we ponder. Lord, this year, thy favor shall be good. Lord, this year, go. Lord, this year, thy favor shall be good. Not as loud as you can sing. Let's each other. All the fragrant of His on 86, where we start the Gloria. Top part, middle notes, or I don't have to forget how those stems do it, and then the lower part, if best we can, and it'll be Gloria. Okay, breathe and go. Gloria. This was a huge challenge of our group, and I wouldn't have known about the anthem except that my voice was over the state musician festival, and our director wrote this arrangement, Ken Bird. Very archaic words. Your boys and girls will think about things they've never thought about, being princes, high and holy. Doesn't the king promise that? Do we think they're too dumb? Do you understand that? You know, we're going to be princesses and princes, you know, in heaven with them. It is an archaic language, and it would be the only one in the year I would do where you know you've got to spend a good bit of time with text to make sure they know what in the world they're singing. But they get so taken in by the beauty of this piece. And I'm sorry I shouted at you so much while we were doing it, but it's just like this. It's slowing down and it's speeding back up, and that middle section's got to be really different in its minor key and sound. And the number of times that they do the and finally you're in the extra. Do voices girls sing F? Gloriously they do. If you let them, and if you vocalize them there, and if you give them opportunity, if you want to keep them on A below middle C to A above middle C, do it. But oh, what you're taking from them, I just can't tell you enough the range that they need to be singing. That's just so important. And all the songs we've been doing for today, I mean, you got appropriate ranges, okay? And on that, in that session where we talked about choices, you even had a place that showed you what was really good for first, second, third grade, and what was good for fourth and sixth. And they had to do it with the text, and they had to do it with the range of their voices. So they need, thank you so much for helping us make music. Don't leave yet, but we're going to do it again. Because now we're going to do it with the vocal score. And only. And some people call this the student score, and some of these have more highlighting than others. But, you know, I'm going to pass this and just say, do every two, where you've got two people sitting together, do look, if you will, and Chrissy, just about the rest of these, and just make sure one person or every two people. This is what I was holding in my hand. And I can tell you why my boys and girls went, well, I'll tell you why. Because we were going to festival, we had 5 songs to learn. It does at the end of September, which I think is really crazy. I think it needs to be enough time here. And so, there was no way my kids were going to encompass what you just held in your hand. You did a magnificent job. You come to a class about reading music, so I'm excited because I think if you have a desire that your boys and girls will make sense of vocal score, my responsibility, I feel like when they leave in 6th grade, they better be ready to read an SSA, an SAB, or an SATD score, because we do have youth choir in our church, praise the Lord. And I heard their homecoming concert from their tour, you know, like 2 days ago, and that is just such a blessing to see all my children, you know, all grown up, and all the things that they are running to see. And everybody, Julie Langford, who's here teaching preschool, she starts with the 4-year-olds in our church, and so all the way from Julie all the way up into my opportunity for the boys and girls, we are a team and helping them. All right, look at this as compared to what you just had in your mind. Okay? All right, I want you to sit tall. You know, let's stand. You've done a lot of singing. So I'm not sorry. And you know what, we're going to go all the way through it again and see what we have to do through here. 3:30. Okay, well, I tell you what let's do. Let's start on measure 40, which is a big part of youth reading. If you tell your children, we're on page 3, and we're starting on measure 40, put your finger on the word and tell me what it is immediately. That's making sense of vocal score. And 4th and 6th graders need to be able to do that now. 4th graders, when they come to us, they can't do it. you know, but they're learning, and they do, in first, second, third grade, they're having, well, start the page now. Okay, let's start on Measure 40. Did you have a measure number? That's a well to give. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not that song, it's still this one, it's still the one we're doing.
Oh.
So if you play that other song, it was just not gonna work. But it's on our team. I'm sorry, I was not making that clear. It's always the correct fault, you know, because what would we do without our companies? Oh, no, they help us make music. So in Measure 40, wells together, Rebecca. All right, here we go, and this is the one that's moving along. Because you know it really well. This is not loud. Y'all see. Back off a little bit, listen to each other, and start making it beautiful, especially when we get that. We got ready. Well, to give glory, all three, one. Is on his own glory, therefore let us praise his name, while his praise is Lord, wish me you gotta be on your ball. Okay. Do you see that? You see down there where it says, watch. Watch. Verse 4 starts. Okay. And it goes into parts. You can sing parts if you want to. We decided not to because we could sing the song much more beautiful in unison, and then the parts only one time on the refrain. Some people's got this thing of the more harmony my choir can sing, the prouder I am. So they're never singing beautifully. Don't give up beauty or harmony. They got the rest of their lives to sing harmony, okay? So, but if you're okay, you can start right now if you want to, and I will not call their teacher. Okay? Lord, this year, we go. Lord, this year, I give a song. Slow down, just off the song. All the faith of his soul, say amen with gladness, with gladness. You know, it doesn't have a retard there. We adults retard all over the place. The children don't. And let me tell you, the retard is built into these notes. It's called augmentation. What you've been singing in quarter notes, you're going to do in half notes in a minute or something. So it's built in a gorgeous way into the music. And you know, we don't, I mean, in adult choir, we got all of these transitions where we go, da, ba, ba, ba. Well, we're not going to do that. We're going to do, I love this song. I get so excited about singing this song. But we're going to sing, say amen with gladness, so that you don't have to take a breath after gladness and have a bunch of snakes. Okay? Rebecca, thank you for helping us. We're going to start on measure 63, just to pick up, say amen. Are you there? Here we go, ready? Say amen. How good to sing glory in the highest peace on earth. How good to have an avenue to rejoice, because that pleases you, Father. Thank you for the people who make beautiful music for us to sing. And thank you that we can help boys and girls to grow in their understanding of you, who you are, while they also experience a beauty that is so possible for them. It's in your name we pray. Okay. And I want to show you that I made 2 or 3 little adjustments in this song. One of them was the last Gloria. The way it's written in there was very hard. It was, when you look at what the top part was going to do, I don't think they were even saying Gloria. I think they were saying holding on to something else. And anyway, I wrote it, I looked at it and worked with it until, and this is what I gave their company. In fact, all the teachers had this. So that as we worked on a 3-part ending, and y'all sang it easily. And that's what, I mean, it's the same notes, but it's in a different configuration of where they go from one note to the next note to the next note. It's just very, and I'll tell you, there were places in here where the accompanist and I sat down together, and there were notes that she did not play. And there was a chord here and there that she did not put in there because it sent your ear somewhere else. Now it didn't do that to y'all, but with the children. And if you want your learning to go, quickly, there's things that you can do. Okay, I wanted to explain that we took a lot of time with that. And by the way, our scripture using our Bible and our Kindle for that was in what is the book? It's just all about joy. Being joyful. Can you tell by looking at my Bible? Is it Old Testament, New Testament? What's the Bible? It has so much about being joyful and being content for God and all that. It starts with a P. There you go. Philippians 4:4. Rejoice in the Lord always. And I will say it again. Rejoice. And when you study the book of Philippians, that's certainly you're going to have a lot of teachings about how to express our joy and the opportunity to do that and why. Okay, let's look at our outline because we have at least 15 minutes. Wait, we started at 2:30. We have a little longer. Oh, good. We're going to sing some more. Try to get to sing some more, Rebecca. Okay. The developmental awareness I was starting to do a while ago. In preschool, you're doing mostly what you call pre-reading. And let me tell you what preschool leaders need to be doing in pre-reading. The children, those preschoolers learn so much by repetition. All children do this, especially preschoolers. They are really big into opposites. That's one of their big learning patterns. What are some, in music, what are some opposites?
High and low.
You got it. What else?
Loud and soft. Fast and
slow.
Up and down.
Yes, you know what those are. Okay? In preschool curriculums, you'll have a lot of pictures of things that don't even pertain to music. And some people will just throw that out and say, well, we got to learn 5 songs. We don't have time to do this. Well, pre-reading. There'll be a lot of visual stuff, a lot of iconic stuff that eventually turns into lines. And then it turns into a line with no hands. And then it's eventually put in spell on staff and that kind of thing. So with them, it's a lot about the opposites. It's a lot of movement with large muscle coordination. This kind of thing, whatever, and we're doing 4 beats in a measure, we're trying to see if we have anything not on the beat, whatever, do that with preschool? Absolutely not. That's all that small muscle. You talk about the large muscle coordination, moving from place to place, being animals, all those kind of things. Do Animal Boogie, that's just a wonderful book and a recording. All right, and I'm going to say, and write every word listening, because reading music, making sense of the vocal score, it's going to always have the listening aspect. All right, in grades 1, 2, and 3, How many of you have some first, second, third graders in here? Let me see. All right, good. We got a good representation here. All right, here's what I want to ask you to do. Balance, and I'll explain what this means if you don't know. Balance your rote teaching, your rote-note teaching, right, rote note, and your note teaching. Now, I'll write those up there, and this is what it means. If I still have my chalk. Okay, good. Okay, we all know what it is to learn by rote. The preschoolers are learning everything by rote. They're catching those songs. And a lot of songs are taught rather than taught with the lots of babies. But like we say, they're doing pre-reading, but with other kind of iconic things that are going to turn into notes. Rote, note. This means when you grades 1, 2, and 3, you're still doing a good bit of rote teaching, but I hope not everything. If they go through an entire year and they haven't had a piece of music in their hand that they can make sense of in a good many ways, you need to think and see how that balance will be. It may not ever be 50-50. And it depends if you got first and third grade together. Some of you have kindergarten and first grade together. Some of you have grades 2 through 6. So some of this kind of stuff, if you can ever get in a small group, you can keep your older children challenged because they need to do a lot of note. You need a lot of note, and we've had 1 or 2 or 3 songs today that we have approached the song entirely by reading it. Remember that? Remember the Advent Carol or whatever that was called this morning that we did? And I said, we're doing this on purpose. We're reading it from the first because it has every single criteria of being easy for first, second, third grade and just so attainable. So you're going to have some big challenges with your 4th and 6th grade. All right, now you see under that, I've got several things about different ways that we can read music. Let's see. You're going to see some familiar things here. Let me see what I've got. Before we go into any more music, I do want to pick up what some publishers do. And yes, this is on your resource page. It's either orange or white. And the Music Mart is on there. There are several in this bag. There are several things that I have bought from Music Mart, including the Kadai hand ladder. But I wanted you in particular to see, I asked for these brochures. They're redoing their brochure, and I asked them a long time ago. And when I sent the reminder, they said, it's still not done. But you got a phone number and a fax number where you could, and some of you may know the names, Betty Woodward and Julia Haley. And they're the ones who prepared these. I use this all the time. This is for their life staff. And you thought, well, I make that. Well, make you some, you know. But the thing about it is you're going to need it. It's not made, and you're needing to make your patterns, all of that. This is 1A, and these, of course, would be a set of rhythm cards. And so just patch on your knee these, and you are reading rhythms. Now, I'm showing you how you pull away from a whole piece of music. And it may not be, your music may be as short as 2 pages, like we've had several songs today. Just one page front and back is all those have been. But this is giving them opportunity. Early arriver, there are a lot of things. In other words, let's pack this on your shoulder. You know, let's not do a patch down here. That would be ordinary. Let's pat right here. Or if it's easier for you to do that, whatever you like. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, you know what? That's your rest, and we don't say anything. We just do that. Ready, go. B, B, B. Oh, sorry, stick it together. Excellent. I'm hearing your pats now. Isn't that a nice quiet? Some teachers think they've got to use those lummy sticks. Get all that sound. Do you know you had children whose behavior would just go out the whatever, wazoo, because their ears cannot take in that sound. You know, I wanted to walk up here and say this. I wanted to while ago, and I'm going to go back and get it here. You don't know, but this is on your book list. Making a good brain grade. It is not written by a musician. It's written by a man who's made his living as a brain scanner. for 30 years. He's got lots of pictures of brains in here, which are very interesting. The first half of the book is all about your brain. The last half of the book is what you do to make a good brain grade. It's a great investment. You can get it out of the library, but you need to buy it and read chapter 17 immediately, because he talks about musicians. He tells you that what do we call this up here? Frontal lobe is, as another word starts with P. Anyway, it's larger if you're a musician. He tells you about that med schools are trying to get music majors to come to med school. He gives you the value of playing instruments in here. It's just wonderful. He's not a musician. So I send little quotes on email to my parents every now and then at the book. So it's not just all what Martha says. You know, this is Dr. Amen, who has 3 clinics all over the United States and has his book. I'm surprised because he has the clinics that he gives us so much information and so much how-to in the book. But he's definitely done that. So you may want to mark there. Okay, you did some rhythm, you read some rhythms, and this set of cards. And I haven't done a lot with Kodai today because so many times if you haven't been using the slowly, the current hand signs of the Kodai syllables, we've done a little bit with that. You've seen that come and go. And some of you will know this. So will you, we won't clap, well, you can put the rhythm anywhere you want to. If it's inside and we don't hear it, it's okay. But this is our so. And if you want to use the hand signs, if you know them and you want to use them, I always, with children, have them do 2 hands. Let's just do a few of those just to see. Because if you would decide to do this, this is a great resource to do it. Of reading melodic rhythm. All right, here we go. 1, 2, ready, go.
So, mi, so, mi, so, mi, mi, so, 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 mi, mi, so, mi, so, mi, so.
I wish they had the video going. Oh, wait. It's over there. Y'all may see us all on video, advertising for next year. Have you ever watched the one that's online, like this year? James Cheeseman, he's right on the very end of it, giving his testimony. It was great. I want us to do those, and then I want you to know, of course, that you can make your own cards. And these came out of a curriculum, and I've had them since 1991. You will not reuse wonderful resources like this unless you follow. I'm going to pick up my envelope, and it won't say the right thing, probably says nothing. It says Elizabeth Woods. She did this in a small group activity, the teacher in my choir. But it goes back in my file at home, in my computer, what I call my computer room. It's called, the big file is reading music, but I've had to divide it out into reading melody, reading form. Okay, but you can, let's just do 1, 2 of these. 1, 2, you notice how I'm getting you started? Is that what you do with your children? Do you give them pitch and do you give them the beat? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, y'all, you're doing great with this reading. Ready, go.
So, mi, so, so, mi, so, so, do, do, so, ti, do, so, mi, re, do.
And what's my favorite instrument to use with this? What's my favorite instrument to have in your choir? Get you some step bells. You gotta have them. Gotta have them. Oh, and if you haven't seen a picture of my grandchildren. Okay, and then I think there was these are not homemade, but I have made lots of these, I'm telling you. These come from, this also from 1991. This was for a good unit. And I love these because they were 2 inches long. So it's the same thing that you were doing a while ago, but reading rhythms, all in 4/4. Now I have a set that's 4/4 on one side and 3/4 on the other. Because again, my point, it's a broken record that I do. We don't do enough with music smooth in threes. All right, so that's some of the free stuff that you can do, and not that you do that, and then you go to reading music. This is all. These are great early arrival kind of things. I have a activity over here that's called 5 in a row. It's always girls against the boys, and I mean they love it, and so many of the questions is in this game 5 in a row, and look at this beautiful, beautiful thing that I made. Look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? And one time I had to make another one because I didn't have it filed in the right place. Okay? And if you don't, it's not filed where you know you're going to go get it. 5 in a row, red and green. I don't remember which is which, you know, we just use it right on marker. And I keep in this envelope though, all kind of little, whoa, this is getting hard. And one guy, you know, is doing the stopwatch and all of that. All right, early arrivals, so people who are coming in, you know, see. And a lot of them, they say, Miss Taylor, we're going to get a tree. Whoever wins going to get a tree. No. Okay, now let's keep going on whatever. Sometimes there's a tree, a lot of times there's not a tree. Don't have a tree. Every single thing, you know. But for some time, had it, and they say, oh, wasn't this good? Julie, you're great. You're starting to be James Galloway. Oh, I'm telling you. I'm going to tell him he's got competition. Helping me move the way. All right, we have done a lot of reading 4/4 time signature today. How many of you have your song page that says, I will praise you, Lord? Now, we made some more of these. And let's see if we have any more still. Or have we given them all out? Everybody have one that has, I will praise you, Lord, on one side, and for the Lord is good on the other? Or big brother? Does everybody have one of those, or at least one for church? Are you saved and not yet? Okay, we're going to sing, I will praise you, Lord, by Sister Calloway. Is this all? And can you look at somebody? Who does not have one of these? But if you're raising your hand, is there anybody here from your church who has one? Okay, or do you see people where we got two from the church that are willing to give those up? You may have made those. I know we went back and made more. Make it up. Yeah, look around there and see. It's the one that has 5 songs total on it. Looks like this. You may see that? I can still try to get some and leave them at the door if you want to come out, because these are songs that I couldn't get in any other way except maybe to be vocal scores for you and get permission to do that and get permission to do that. Okay, and then as I told you over and over, this is my favorite song. I want you to read it now. I don't know that we've read it on the music, but I want you to hear it and read it one more time. But you know what I want you to do? Can you all, will one person hold it and the other one conduct? Because I wanted us to do the motion thing. One person's definition of music, reading, and making music is telling us that music is the language of sound and motion. I read that somewhere while I was getting ready for this class, and I never read it before. Music is the language of sound and motion. I think about it, sound and silence, but I love sound and motion. You think melodies, and you think rhythm. And then you think about all the other parts that we do. Okay, let's, if you can conduct with me, here's how we're going to conduct 4. And if you're not a conductor, if you're not used to that, do it bilaterally. That's what as I told you earlier, the children have to do it bilaterally. They never have any trouble watching me do that, and they do it bilaterally. And then bilaterally, and then you can take this hand away and make sure. If not, they're going to mirror what you're doing. They're going to be doing it's going to be over here. You see what I'm saying? Because they're mirroring you. Are you here we go? Do you have that song? No, you're not. It's in that whole stack of James' stuff that I don't know if you sent me with a compliment.
Is it this?
Yeah. No, that's the Lord's good. It's just probably a one-pager. It says at the top.
What is it called again?
I will praise you, Lord. If not, we'll sing that. That it? You we go. Sitali. Whoop. I'll go with the piano, okay? Lord, you are Lord, I will praise you. Lord, you are Lord, I will exalt you. Lord, you are Lord, I will adore you. I'll sing songs of praise to you. I will praise you, Lord, praise you, Lord, for you have become my salvation. I will praise you, Lord, praise you, Lord, for you are my strength and song, my song. Give me a G, look here. Put a G on there for the children to give you a G. Song. I don't put lots of letters, lots of consonants in my hand, just a few, so that they know exactly, which one. This is an L. This is F. This is D. Absolutely, this is D. They know D. This is a S or T, because they make that sound and let it go. Praise, praise. However well they'll watch it. There are few of those ending consonants. La, la. Does that make sense? Okay, that's part of your conductor. What's that have to do with reading? I'm not sure, but it's okay. All right, reading 6-8 time. Festival Hallelujah. Did anybody get back with your packet I gave you earlier today? Or did you get a packet? I know we got out of them, but they went as far. They underestimated the numbers, I think, of you also. Next year, they will be already. Festival Hallelujah, will you find that? And you don't have it, did you get a packet? Oh, it did. It was good, it was smooth. And in the second period class this morning, you got a packet from Don Young, what are they? Conway. And it had 5 answers in it. And we didn't. Pardon? Look, that's what it looks like. So he must have just given them out as far as he went around the circle. I do not know how many they did, and I'm so sorry. And if there's any of you here where you're two from the church and you've got two and you would share one, that would be good. Okay, this is a 6A, and you've not played this before, even have you? Alan Toad, what a composer. And he's given us some wonderful things for children. And here it is in the 6A. Oh, yours looks different from mine. Okay. All right, sit tall. We're not going to do all of this, but we're going to do enough to get the feel. And I apologize. I apologize so much that they just weren't enough packets. I'm not sure what we can do about that. Let me think. Let me say to you, if you were here and you got the handout, these answers are listed down at the bottom, and you can go online and click on, and you can actually see. You look at the music there, and look at. And plus, I hope she's got copies of this. I have no chance to go. I don't even know where is she. Somewhere. Where's the bookstore? Kindly.
Yes, they do have this in the book.
They have this. They have this copy of this.
Yeah, it looks like.
It looks like this.
Thank
Thank you for saying that. What's your name?
Mary.
Okay. All right. All right, let's sing a little bit of it and listen to this wonderful little intro that she's sight reading. We go. Miss Margaret. Isn't that wonderful? Sing unto the Lord all the heavens and earth. Hallelujah. Watch me. Here we go. Sing unto One, two, the sight reading, and I'm just up here dancing and working so hard because I just want you to, just be with me because the mood of this piece is just fabulous. And for reading, where this song started being learned was that middle section where we, in 4/4, where we just stopped. Whoops. And I was thinking that I had it in this, look one more time here. I have a little poster where all those 16th notes and that listen to the rhythm articulation, listen to the beat of life. We learned that little middle section. They didn't even know it was in the song. Listen to the rhythm articulation. But they don't get to read 16th notes very much. So in that, they had the 16th notes, they had 8th notes, they had the quarter notes, and maybe a half note in there. Y'all, you see what I'm saying? And so that was their music reading entree. And then when they got that music in their hand, and we were doing this 6/8, sing unto God, so, and then they got in their page, and they were looking at their page, and they were going, listen to the rhythm, to the, what now? What now? We know this. We know this, Miss Cat. I said, yeah, I'm with you. I know. You know it. So they love coming upon something that they know already and doing with it. I've never had a teacher to tell me this is one of the best sight reading methods. And that would be teach a song by rote and use a word chart or whatever. Buy the music, have the music, know you're going to read the music. But come back and read the music. And maybe even let the children highlight it at that point with the part that they sang, part 1 and part 2. We use yellow for part 1, a melody in part 1, over and over and over. I use either green or blue or salmon color or whatever for part 2. And if you got a 3-part, then you add one of the things like we did for the Gloria Deo at the very end. Does that make sense to you? Now I'm going to tell you, the best thing that you can buy for reading that you might not have is a highlighter for your child. And I don't know if you have folders or whatever, or maybe you can just keep them in a certain place where you could use them in small group. Here's what they follow their line with that highlighter. They stop when the music stops, not when there's a comma. They look at that phrase, and when the music stops, they stop, and so you have a blank page. I mean, that was how it was when you did Rejoice, and which I'm letting you take home. The yellow did not keep going. When you were to take a breath, the yellow, does that make y'all you follow me? So highlighting music will save you, I can't measure it for you, how much time you're going to save highlighting music. Now, how much time does it take you to highlight music? I mean, 30 copies or 15 copies or 6 or, but you know what? I have a senior adult friend, and I used to say this a long time ago, and I realized, I'm a senior adult. I have a friend my age, okay, who does what time. I also name my grandchildren. Know what to do with that, and I can highlight a whole set of anthems that I'm using choir. So I wanted us to feel that. I'm going to show you something that sometimes I use. You may not like it, but when we were doing that, sing unto God, all the heaven. Oh, let me do it the opposite so you can mirror me. Sing unto God, the heavens and earth. You know what you're putting in your body? What are you putting in there? What time signature are you putting in there? 6A. Where are the strong beats? Where are those in your body?
Me.
Yeah, that's what adults say. You ask them, where's 1 and 3, and the children say, me. Got it? Okay, let's do it one more time. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ready? And would you play that little tune? Are you still there? Just right at the beginning of Festival Hallelujah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. All right, will you do that? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm sorry, not the intro. Just right where our melody starts. You know what? The melody's not in there, is it? But you just play that a couple for us. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, stop. And thank you, Rebecca. And now let's go back to that very same place and count it in 2. Ready, go. 1, 2. Oh, this is what I use. One, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And if I want them to use their right hand, I'm doing the opposite. So that when you mirror me, you're using your dominant hand probably to do that beat.
Why does it
One-
matter which hand they use?
It doesn't. Except there are times when, if a dominant hand sometimes will just make that stronger, be stronger. But, actually, it really doesn't. Even when I'm doing aerobics with them in my choir, which have we got to do that today? Maybe next year you'll it's part of the get your body warm up. I do a very, very short aerobic. Very short, where we're using our whole body. We are expanding our rib cage. We are especially getting our hands up. We're stretching these sides out so that their body is just a comfortable being with them, for singing. Help them, the voice is housed in a body instrument. So it's not the only thing. Have them put their fingers here and sing and feel the vocal cords. And we talk about this. A while ago, we sang that song about pondering and about the wonder. About it being a wonder. So many things that God has done is a wonder. And we just try to explain it all away. You tell me how I'm going to sing a note, and I want you to sing it after me. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Tell me how you did that. Just speak. You don't have to raise your hand even. How'd you do it? What was some of the things? Well, just some things involved.
Listening.
All right, listening. Sometimes I really do have to wear these. Because they listen. Got these at a costume shop. And most of the time I put them on the wrong ear, but this was not staying. Okay, listening. What else? How did you replicate what I did? You what? All right, you felt the beat. I'm talking especially about sound.
Air.
All right, you had to have air under it. What were you saying, Julie?
Vocal folds.
Vocal folds? Yeah. Have you looked at those recently at the ENT when he put that little thing down your nose with them? Really interesting. I did that very recently because I've been having a lot of trouble. I have a pretty nice voice, but I don't now. Right now because of two different things, but mainly because I've had a hacking cough that won't go away. And so it's really played havoc with my vocal cords, of course. Okay, how did we get that sound? How did you get that same sound that I had? You listened, the vocal folds, the vocal cords are vibrated. You took a breath, there's some vibration to make that sound. You know why you can't tell me? It's a miracle. It's God's miracle. He decided He would make us and make our brain to be able. There's a place in there that registers pitch. There's a book called I believe this is the right title. This is your book on music. And it's also written by a man his first name is Daniel, and at this moment, his last name is escaping. It was a pretty popular book 3 or 4 years ago. Very technical. I can only read little parts of it at a time. It tries to explain what God did. And he is a musician. But there are places in your brain that is pitch. But let me tell you, let's don't ever take for granted what he did. Because what we get to do with our voice and help boys and girls to do. I have 4 minutes? 3 minutes, okay. I want you to see this music. Would you get when Jesus was a boy? We got 3 minutes, she said. There's some things I would do different if I ever came back down here again. What is the thing with the collated in here? Would you just make sure to get those down and get those people back up? Okay, she's going to start playing a little bit. This is from a musical. One of my main points is, 2 main points. The kids song. Another point is we never ever sing very much about Jesus as a boy. And the third thing is this piece is, did I say this already? This piece is going to be, no, I said, boys and girls loved it. It's about Jesus, and it's on a musical. And a lot of times a musical will just have a standout piece. But you might not ever go back and do it. And this is from a speciality. Just would you hold that book up? That's the only one I have here. And on your resource page, I've written to you how I got this and how I got permissions. And the kids love it. Just is she sight reading again? But play. Just start a little bit up for us. Right, Rebecca.
How fast is it?
Let's see. When Jesus was a boy. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And read through it. It's so delightful. You may not be able to get this piece and find this piece. I did, I checked to see. This is still, you can get that musical. It was still in print and that kind of thing. And so, to get, I don't know, just get a copy and maybe do that with your children. I look all the time for songs about Jesus as a boy. Okay, we didn't get to do anything with reading form. This is what we're going to do with form. Yeah. We had the children to write. A, we use the alphabet. So we first of all, the first section we sang A, it repeats, and we sang the same tune for the second verse. So A went in it's supposed to be 2 of those right here. An A, another A. All right, and then, goodness, down here, it measured 25, that's B, it's a totally different. With interesting intervals, and then you do an A again, and then at the end, they wrote the form down here. That is learning to read the form of a piece. That's a pattern of a piece, how it's put together. It's how the composer intended for the whole picture to fit together in form. Form is one of just about the easiest things that boys and girls can recognize in a piece. And it can save you lots of time, and it saves them a lot of time. And think, we already know that. Look how many times we sing A. Oh my goodness, we learned B, well we already know B. Okay, so really we only have 28 measures in this piece instead of 63. That's what they're sitting there doing. They want to get out of work. All right, we all do. Reading, harmony. I don't know what I did without that kind of stuff. I have parts of the show, just a harmony lines in different color, and colors are a good way to do that too. Okay. Don't forget highlighting when you're helping your boys and girls to learn to read music. Don't forget step bells. For letting them use their senses of hearing and feeling and seeing a melody and then transporting it right over to the page.